goes to his sister Hope, who gave him love and, as expected, hope, and someone to Leslie, who provided love and much laughter. But much of the credit goes to Lel, who was mother, guardian angel, chief caregiver, and organizer from the very beginning to the very end. Lel and Tommy had a relationship that one can best understand by studying the nuances of Michelangelo's Pietà. But the most important force in Tommy's life was his faith. Tommy had very deep faith. He had Christ in his heart. And as a result, he was not afraid of death. He was not afraid of anything. And he knew well that the kingdom is not of this world. Now, an important caregiver of Tommy, Sheila, who I believe is here today, told me two of his oft-used phrases were, "It's going to be a great day at the start of every day, and I am not afraid." Of our rector, Mark Fitzhugh, when he started at St. John's in May 2015, Tommy exclaimed, "Fitzhugh is the real deal." And then 3 months later, he said, "I've been waiting my entire life for a minister like Mark Fitzhugh." They had a great relationship. "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." And Tommy would go into the etymology and origins of the word meek and explain to us that meek is not weak. Although it is mild, considerate, and humble, it only exists where great strength is kept under wraps. So last September 2015, Tommy was asked by Canon John McGinty, who's here with us today, and Bishop Larry Provenzano to speak at the convocation for the new school at the Mercer School of Theology in Garden City. And Tommy gave a scholarly speech quoting Thomas Aquinas and various scripture verses, as usual. But it was the conclusion that had his real signature. And it's on the back of today's bulletin. He said, "So let us keep doing theology, but let us also keep laughing. Let us not take ourselves so seriously that we forget to be playful. How else can we receive the kingdom as children?" Thank you, Tommy. May God bless and keep you.
These are Peter's remarks. Any mistakes are mine. Tommy loved comic books. He loved superheroes with incredible powers, and he even had a soft spot for dastardly supervillains bent on world domination. In a way, Tommy was a superhero himself. As far back as first grade, Tommy knew how to protect his secret identity. When it was his turn to deliver the attendance list for his class to the school office, he would sneak in like a ninja and leave the list on the desk. Then he would vanish without a trace. At least, that's how it happened in his imagination. He also had strong, heroic impulses. When I was 9 and still able to walk, I once lost my balance and fell into the shallow end of the pool with clothes on. I was fine, but 7-year-old Tommy saw his chance to be a hero. "I'll save you," he cried. "Don't you dare jump in that pool with your clothes on, Tommy," Mom said. But it was too late. He was already in the water by the time she finished her sentence. Tommy had a penchant for action and adventure. In high school, he was not content to spend summers sitting around and playing computer games. He dragged me along on excursions further and further from home, testing the limits of our independence and the battery life of our wheelchairs. On one of these trips, Tommy had a freak wheelchair accident. While going over a rough stretch of sidewalk, he somehow managed to dislodge the tire from one of his wheels. He was stuck in a precarious position on the verge of tipping over. Luckily for us, a contractor working on a nearby house came to the rescue. But Tommy didn't let a close call like that scare him. He was back out there again the next day. Tommy had many attributes of a superhero: courage, adventure seeking, and a desire to help others. He also had some tragic flaws to overcome, such as his hubris about defeating muscular dystrophy. He really came into his own when he found faith. Religion helped Tommy tremendously. Through his faith in God, Tommy was finally able to embrace fully his kind-hearted and heroic nature. His first summer home from college, he volunteered every weekday at the Henry Viscardi School, helping to teach students with severe disabilities. He didn't do it to pad his resume. He did it because he wanted to show God and himself that he was on a mission to do good. Tommy became more selfless in his actions, even when he was busy pursuing 2 graduate degrees. He was able to accept his limitations and, to the extent possible, make peace with his worsening condition. I don't mean that he achieved perfection, but he became more and more the kind, unselfish person he was always meant to be. I saw his kindness most clearly in his relationship with my daughter, Helen. He praised her art projects and encouraged her to make more of them. He was a willing participant in the games she invented, reacting to each incomprehensible and contradictory new rule with amusement, but no sign of annoyance. Like most superheroes, Tommy had a superpower. It was his exceptional ability to help others grow. Whether he was playing educational games with children in Sunday school, teaching Latin to high schoolers, leading a Bible study with adults, or even just talking to his brother, he left us changed for the better. He was one of those rare superheroes who don't hog the spotlight, but are always there when you need them. He wasn't flashy, aside from the occasional bright yellow shirt, but he was solid and reliable. He taught me what it means to be a real-life superhero, to be honest, unselfish, and unfailingly kind, and to leave the world better than you found it.
We are Tommy's cousins from Lel's side of the family, and we're going to read Tommy's admissions essay to Brown. I love people. I love to make them laugh and lighten up. I love to dance. I love to listen to 80s music. I am an artist and love creativity. I have Duchenne muscular dystrophy. I remember waiting in the car outside the ice cream shop. My brother tells me that the man with the mustache is staring at us. He knows we are different because he can see my brother's wheelchair. My brother tells me that we are different and that people will never see us as human.
I remember my last day walking. A cold breeze blew through the campsite in the golden light of the evening. Walking towards the tents where my classmates were camped, my foot became pitted in the white sand and I fell to the ground. I felt my bones break. I felt like a hero felled by an arrow of a fiend. I would never walk again. I looked to the sky for hope as we gathered around the campfire, the others singing songs. I saw them as if through a veil. It was then that it came back to me. Love had not been slain. I had known subconsciously all along that that day would come. I was ready for it. The disease had taken its biggest bite out of me. What didn't kill me, however, only served to make me stronger.
I remember waking up happy, my day an empty page stretching in front of me. I was ready for school early. I loved everyone. I felt no shame, no anger, no hate. I was victorious. I was human. I remember good times at school and the friends that I have and have still. I remember being a part of something and feeling accepted. I remember feeling like a hero.
I remember making charcoal sketches and pencil drawings every day in Florida. I remember a pelican that stayed unmoving on the boardwalk for an hour as I drew him and stared directly into his eyes. I remember how people gathered around me when I was drawing on the street. To myself, I felt that what I was doing was nothing special, just me using my talent and impressing some people at the same time. To them, the idea of a person in a wheelchair wearing a bright yellow Hawaiian shirt and drawing outside at night by himself was fascinating.
I remember going straight to the dance floor in a discotheque in Madrid. I was not drunk, but in love with the music, the people, the motion. I danced, moving my body all around rhythmically, feeling the music in my soul and bursting with emotion. It felt so great that I was on the verge of tears. There I was in Spain, dancing the night away, and life was beautiful. That was last summer, and the memory of the lights and music is one that I will not soon forget. I am a lover of creativity, of people, and life in general. I love to be a spreader of joy at no one else's expense. I have become a peaceful man after years of war with myself and weakness.
Mark Twain said, "Humor is the great thing, the saving thing after all. The minute it crops up, all our hardnesses yield, all our irritations and resentments flit away, and a sunny spirit takes their place." When I think about Tommy, the first thing that comes to mind is his brilliant sense of humor. It is a large part of what made him such an incredible teacher, both in the classroom and beyond. Whether he was incentivizing his students with gimbal bucks, which were these fake bills with his face printed on it, and I always told him he looked so good with Andrew Jackson's head of hair, or retelling Bible stories through the use of pop culture references and classic scenes from movies, Tommy knew how to get a message across in a lasting and memorable way. Tommy's sense of humor wasn't limited to the classroom. It was present in everything he did. He could bring light and laughter to even the darkest moments. He could bring positivity and a smile when presented with the unfair circumstances of muscular dystrophy. and he could take the level of fun and good times up a notch when he rolled into a party. Tommy, thank you for blessing us with your sunny spirit. This world was lucky to have you.
Hi, I'm Vikram. This is Alicia Perry Isiniena, and this is Joe Dotino. We went to Portledge with Tommy. I just wanted to thank Mr. and Mrs. Gimbel, Pete, Leslie, and Hope. Their house was always open, and we were always able to come over and hang out with them. I first met Tommy in 9th grade. I just started in Portledge. We were in separate English classes, but we had the same teacher. And we were reading the Odyssey. And at the end of reading it, the teacher gave both classes the same assignment. I imagine Tommy's class was graded a little bit more strictly because he was in advanced English. We were to draw a scene from the Odyssey. I chose the Harpies calling at Odysseus to crash upon the rocks. I could barely draw a sailboat. At the end of class, we went out in the hallway, and people were gathered around Tommy, looking at what he drew. And this is the first time I got to speak to Tommy and see what he was capable of. He had drawn the most immensely violent scene possible. The white of the paper, the black of the pen, and the red. So much red. He had drawn the scene of Odysseus killing